Montana Territory, winter 1883, noon. A fierce blizzard sweeps the high plateau, snow falling in thick curtains, obscuring the pale sun above the Rockies. Jack Turner's log cabin stands alone, nestled among snow-laden pines, its chimney trailing thin smoke. Jack, 38, his face etched with deep lines of grief, works outside, his gloved hands swinging an axe to repair a sled. 5 years ago, a fire claimed his wife and daughter, leaving him with only ashes and a vow to live alone. His days are filled with the rhythm of survival, chopping wood, tending horses, bearing pain in silence. The wind howls, drowning out the world, but a sharp crunch in the snow cuts through, followed by a woman's cry. Jack freezes, axe raised, his gray eyes narrowing into the white haze. A figure stumbles from the storm, a young woman, her long black hair matted with frost, her bronze skin chapped by the biting cold. Her dark eyes blaze with defiance, though her body trembles under a tattered Blackfoot cloak, torn at the shoulder. Blood seeps from a gash on her arm, staining the snow red. She steps closer, her voice hoarse but unyielding. "Shelter me or die." Jack's grip tightens on the axe handle. Strangers bring trouble, and he's sworn off trouble since the flames took everything. Her eyes lock onto his, fierce yet desperate, her blood dripping steadily. He scans the horizon for pursuers, seeing only swirling snow. Her words hang in the air. A challenge, a plea, a spark that cracks the walls he's built around his heart. He's lived alone too long, but her strength, her refusal to break, stirs something he thought dead. "Get inside," he growls, jerking his head toward the cabin door. Luna stumbles forward, clutching her arm, her cloak dragging in the snow. Jack follows, shutting the door against the storm's roar. Inside, the cabin is dim, warmed by a low fire in an iron stove, its glow flickering on rough log walls. Luna sways, her strength fading, and Jack catches her, his hands steady but hesitant, lowering her to a chair by the fire. He grabs a rag and a tin of water, kneeling to clean her wound. "Who's after you?" he asks, his voice rough, eyes flicking to the door as if expecting it to burst open. "Bandits," Luna says, wincing as he binds her arm. "They killed my husband, want me as their prize." Her voice carries rage beneath the pain, a fire that echoes Jack's own buried anger. He doesn't want this, another life to carry, but her resolve makes turning away impossible. He pulls his wife's old blanket from a chest and hands it to her. She wraps it tight, her shivering easing, but her eyes never leave him, sharp and searching. The cabin feels smaller now, the silence heavier with her presence. Jack sets a kettle on the stove, his hands trembling slightly, his mind racing. Who is this woman? Why his door? Trouble's coming. He can feel it. Luna breaks the silence. "I saw your smoke," she says, her voice softer but firm. "Thought the man inside might have a heart." Her words cut deep, stirring memories of his wife's laughter, his daughter's small hand. Jack doesn't answer, his jaw clenched, but he peers through a window crack. The snow buries the world outside, but it won't bury what's coming for her. He turns back, meeting her gaze, and knows his solitude is already broken. Early afternoon, the blizzard outside Jack's cabin softens, snow piling high against the log walls. Inside, the iron stove crackles, casting a warm golden glow across the sparse room. A plank bed, a rough table, 2 chairs, and a chest holding relics of Jack's lost family. Sunlight filters through a fogged window, painting the floorboards in pale light. Luna sits by the stove, wrapped in Jack's wife's blanket, her tattered cloak discarded in a heap. Her dark hair, freed from frost, falls over her shoulders, catching the firelight. Her bandaged arm seeps blood, but her dark eyes are sharp, tracking Jack with a mix of wariness and defiance. Jack stands at the table, slicing a chunk of venison into a pot, his hands steady but his jaw tight from years of silence. The room is quiet, save for the fire's pop and the wind's distant howl. He sets a tin cup of steaming broth before Luna, avoiding her gaze. "Drink," he says, his voice rough, unused to speaking to anyone but his horses. Luna takes the cup, her fingers trembling, not from cold, but from the weight of survival. She sips, wincing at the heat, then fixes her eyes on him. "Why'd you let me in?" she asks, her voice hoarse but piercing, cutting through the stillness. Jack pauses, knife hovering over the meat. Memories flood in. His wife's fevered face, his daughter's small hands slipping from his in the fire's aftermath. "You'd have died out there," he says, stirring the pot to avoid her gaze. "Didn't want that on my conscience." Luna's eyes narrow, seeing through his half-truth. "Most men would shut the door," she says, her voice steady, challenging. Jack's shoulders stiffen, her words digging at the walls he's built to keep grief and responsibility at bay. He glances at her, the blanket slipping to reveal her shoulder through the torn cloak, and looks away, ashamed of the warmth stirring in his chest. Luna sets the cup down, her hands steadier now. "My husband fought for me," she says, her voice low, heavy with grief. "Bandits cut him down when he wouldn't give me up. They're coming for me now." Her words carry a rage that mirrors Jack's own buried pain, and he feels it like a weight in the room. He pulls a wool shirt from the chest, one of his own, and sets it on the table. "Put this on," he says gruffly. "That cloak won't keep you warm." Luna hesitates, pride warring with need, then takes the shirt, her fingers brushing his. The touch lingers, brief but electric, and Jack steps back, his breath catching. He busies himself at the stove, adding wood, but his mind races. Her presence fills the cabin, breaking its tomb-like silence. "I'm Luna," she says, her name a deliberate offering. "Jack," he replies, the word feeling foreign on his tongue. She slips the shirt over her cloak, the fabric loose but covering her wounds. "You've lost someone too," she says, not a question but a truth. Jack nods, unable to speak, memories of flames and screams rising. Luna's gaze holds him, knowing, steady. The fire crackles and the cabin feels alive with her in it. Outside, a faint sound, a horse's snort, cuts through the wind. Jack's eyes snap to the window, his hand reaching for the rifle prop nearby. Luna stiffens, her hand on the knife at her belt. They don't speak, but their shared glance carries a warning. Trouble is closer than they thought. The sunlight dims as clouds thicken, and Jack knows the storm may hide them for now, but not for long. Luna's presence has changed everything, and he's not sure he's ready for what's coming. Mid-afternoon, the snow has eased, blanketing the plateau in heavy white, the Rockies sharp against a pale sky. Jack's cabin stands isolated, its log walls dusted with fresh powder, smoke curling from the chimney. Sunlight glints off the snow, casting long pine shadows, but the air bites with the promise of more storms. Jack steps outside, his boots crunching, rifle slung over his shoulder. His face, weathered by years and grief, is set hard, his gray eyes scanning the horizon for signs of the trouble Luna brought to his door. Inside, Luna stands by the window, her borrowed wool shirt loose on her frame, dark hair pulled back to reveal the sharp lines of her face. Her bandaged wound aches, but her grip on a knife at her belt is firm, her eyes alert. The warmth of the fire lingers in her, but so does her hunger for vengeance. She watches Jack through the fog glass, her breath clouding the pain, as he moves toward the corral where his horses snort nervously. The horses' whinny from last night still echoes in their minds, a warning that her pursuers are near. Jack kneels by the corral, brushing snow from the ground. His gloved hand stops on fresh hoof prints, not his horse's. His jaw tightens as he follows the trail toward the tree line, where pines cluster thick. The tracks circle wide, deliberate, as if someone scouted the cabin. He straightens, rifle now in hand, and glances back. Luna's silhouette is at the window, her gaze locked on him, reading his tension. He returns, snow clinging to his coat, breath visible in the cold. "Tracks," he says, shutting the door hard. "3 horses, maybe 4. They're close." Luna steps away from the window, her eyes darkening but steady. "It's them," she says, voice edged with rage. "The bandits who killed my husband. They want me to break me." Her words fill the cabin, heavy, settling in Jack's chest. He sets the rifle on the table, checking its cartridges, a habit from his trapping days. "How many?" he asks, voice firm. 5, maybe 6, Luna replies, eyes blazing. "They won't stop, unless I make them pay." Jack studies her, seeing a warrior, her resolve echoing the strength he lost when grief hollowed him out. He crosses to the chest, pulling out a quiver of arrows and a short Blackfoot bow. relics from a trade years ago. You said you could shoot, he says, handing them to her. Luna traces the bow's curve, a flicker of surprise in her eyes. You trust me with this? She asks, voice softer, probing. Jack nods. You're here. That makes you my fight. The words are hard, true. Luna tests the bowstring, her movements sure. My husband taught me, she says, voice catching. Said a woman's no prey. Jack's throat tightens, memories of his wife and daughter flashing unbidden. Not here, he says, voice rough. Their eyes meet, the cabin shrinking, the air charged with trust and something more. Jack checks the door bolts. Luna stacks wood by the stove. Their shoulders brush as they work, a rhythm born of necessity and growing connection. A branch snaps outside, sharp in the quiet. Jack grabs his rifle, Luna her bow. They freeze, eyes on the window, snow glinting in fading light. They're watching, Luna whispers, fierce. Jack nods. The cabin's a fortress now, and their fight is just beginning. Late afternoon, the sun hangs low, casting golden shadows across the snowy plateau, the Rockies glowing in the distance. Jack's cabin stands firm, its shutters reinforced, wood stacked by the door. Smoke curls from the chimney, the fire inside blazing. Jack peers through a shutter crack, rifle in hand, the scar at his temple catching the light. Luna kneels nearby, bow ready, quiver at her side, her dark eyes fierce in the borrowed wool shirt. Silence hums with tension, broken by the fire's crackle and the wind's faint whisper. Hooves crunch in the snow, voices carry on the breeze. Jack's grip tightens. They're here, he says, voice low. Luna rises, knocking an arrow, her face set with determination. 3 riders emerge from the tree line, scarves pulled high, rifles slung across saddles. The leader, burly with a scarred cheek, calls out, mocking, Send out the Blackfoot woman, old man. She's ours, stole from us. Jack glances at Luna, her eyes blazing with rage. Stay low, he whispers. She nods, steady, her bow taut. The riders laugh, one spitting into the snow. Last chance or we burn you out, Jack answers with a warning shot, the bullet kicking up snow near the leader's horse. The animal rears and the men scatter to the trees, firing back. Bullets slam into the cabin, splintering wood. Jack ducks, reloading fast, his hands steady from years of hunting. A bullet shatters a tin cup on the table. Luna aims through a crack, her arrow whistling, striking a rider's shoulder. He curses, dropping his rifle, retreating deeper into the pines. The leader shouts, Rush the door! 2 men charge, firing wildly. Jack shoots, dropping one in the snow. The other dives behind a log, bullets peppering the walls. Luna shifts to another window, her arrow grazing the second man's arm. He yelps, firing off target, shattering glass. Jack pulls Luna down as shards rain, his arm around her shoulders. You okay? He asks, voice rough with concern. Her eyes meet his, a spark of partnership flaring. Keep fighting, she says, voice fierce. The gunfire slows, the bandits retreating. We'll be back, the leader yells, mounting up, snow swirling as they ride off. Jack lowers his rifle, chest heaving, eyes on the ridge. They're not done, he says. Luna stands, bow still in hand, her shoulder brushing his. Then we wait, she replies, steady. The cabin bears scars, bullet holes, broken glass. But their bond has deepened in the fight. The yard glows gold under the setting sun, and Jack feels the weight of her choice to stay, his to protect her. They're not just surviving now, they're fighting as one. Early afternoon the next day. The sun cuts through scattered clouds, bathing the snowy plateau in pale light. The Rockies sharp in the distance. Jack's cabin stands scarred. Bullet holes pock the walls. Glass crunches underfoot. The fire burns low, smoke trailing outside. Jack hammers a board over a shattered window, sleeves rolled up, sweat beading on his brow. Luna sweeps broken glass from the floor, her bow within reach, the wool shirt loose but her movements sure. Their shared survival has woven a thread between them, stronger after the fight. Jack pauses, wiping his brow, his gray eyes on Luna. She moves with purpose, her dark hair catching sunlight, her face softer but still fierce. Her arrow saved him yesterday, his rifle her. He sets the hammer down, stepping closer. You didn't run, he says, voice low, rough. Luna looks up, her dark eyes steady. I'm no prey, she says, her voice carrying her husband's loss but also her strength. Jack feels it, a mirror to his own grief, the fire that took his wife and daughter still burning in his chest. She sets the broom aside, facing him fully. Why do you stay alone, she asks, her voice probing, cutting through his silence. Jack's throat tightens, memories raw. Lost my wife and daughter in a fire, he says, words heavy. Thought solitude was all I had left. Luna steps closer, her hand brushing his arm, light but deliberate. Solitude keeps you alive, but not whole, she says, her voice soft but certain. Her words crack his walls and their eyes lock, the cabin shrinking around them, the fire's glow warm on their faces. Jack reaches for her hand, hesitant at first, then firm. You're here now, he says, his voice a low rumble. I won't let them take you. Luna's breath catches, her fingers tightening in his. She leans up, and their lips meet in a slow, careful kiss, heavy with years of loss and new hope. When they part, her forehead rests against his, her voice a whisper. I stay if you'll have me. Jack nods, heart pounding. Stay, he says, a vow sealed in the quiet. They resume repairs, nailing boards, patching walls, moving as one. Luna hums a Blackfoot tune, her husband's memory in the notes, but her eyes on Jack, soft with trust. As they work, a shadow flickers on the ridge. Riders more than before. Jack's hand stills, hammer raised. Luna follows his gaze, her bow within reach. More of them, she says, voice hard, resolute. Jack nods, his resolve matching hers. The fight's not over, but they're no longer alone. Their bond a shield against what's coming. Midday, the sun burns high, its light harsh on the snowy plateau, the Rockies stark against a clear sky. Jack's cabin stands battle-worn but strong, its patched walls a testament to survival. Smoke rises from the chimney, the fire inside roaring. Jack stands on the porch, rifle in hand, his gray eyes scanning the ridge where danger looms. Luna joins him, her bow slung over her shoulder, quiver at her hip, dark hair braided tightly. The wool shirt fits her like a second skin, her face set with purpose. The air is still, but a hum of threat lingers beneath it. Jack points to the ridge, where 6 riders appear, silhouetted against the snow. Their scarves hide their faces, rifles gleaming in the sunlight. They brought more, he says, voice low, steady. Luna's eyes narrow, her hand tightening on the knife at her belt. They want me dead or taken, she says, her voice fierce. But I'll take them first. Her words carry the weight of her husband's blood, fueling her vengeance. Jack studies her, seeing a warrior, her resolve reigniting the strength he lost to grief years ago. Inside, they prepare with focus. Jack loads cartridges, his hands steady from trapping days. Luna sharpens arrows, her movements precise. She kneels, sketching a plan in the dirt floor. We use the snow, she says, showing Blackfoot signals, hand gestures for stealth, traps. Hide pits by the corral, rig branches to fall. Jack nods, impressed, his hunter's instincts waking. Their hands brush as they work, a quiet intimacy in their shared purpose. The cabin feels like theirs now, not just his refuge. You fight like you've done this before, Jack says, voice rough but warm. Luna's eyes meet his, steady. I fought to live every day since they took him, she says. You fight like you've lost everything. Jack's chest tightens, her words cutting true. Maybe I'm finding something, he replies, his voice low, eyes lingering on her. Her gaze softens, a spark of something deeper flaring. They step outside, setting traps, snow pits, rigged branches, under the harsh sun. The riders watch from the ridge, a dark promise in their stillness. The sunlight glints off the snow, shadows shrinking. Jack and Luna stand side by side, weapons ready. They'll come soon, Luna says, her voice fierce, unwavering. Let them, Jack replies, his hand brushing hers, a fleeting touch that seals their bond. The cabin's scars mirror their own, but together they're unbreakable. The ridge grows still, but the air crackles with the fight to come, their resolve of fire brighter than the sun above. Noon the sun blazes, casting sharp light on the snowy plateau, the Rockies gleaming in the distance. Jack's cabin stands battle-worn, its bullet-pocked walls patched, shutters nailed tight. Smoke rises, the fire inside roaring. Jack and Luna wait by the windows, rifle and bow ready, their faces set with shared resolve. The ridge erupts. 6 bandits charge, rifles firing, snow exploding around the cabin. Jack aims through a shutter, his shot dropping one rider in a spray of snow. Luna's arrow flies, striking another's leg, her aim deadly from years of practice. The leader, scarred cheek glinting in the sun, shouts, "Take her alive!" But his voice breaks as bullets hit the cabin, splintering wood. Jack reloads, hands steady, Luna knocking arrows with precision. A bandit trips a snow pit, crashing with a yell. Another triggers a rigged branch, pinned as it falls. Luna's arrow finds his shoulder, and he retreats, cursing. The gunfire is deafening, walls shuddering, but they hold fast. Jack pulls Luna from a window as a bullet grazes the frame, their eyes meeting, fierce with trust. "Keep firing," she says, voice hard. Jack shoots again, dropping another man. Only 3 bandits remain, their shots growing desperate. Luna aims, her arrow piercing the leader's arm. He screams, clutching the wound, and signals retreat. The last 2 mount up, fleeing into the pines, snow swirling in their wake. Silence falls, heavy, broken only by the wind. Jack lowers his rifle, chest heaving, Luna's bow still taut. They step outside, the yard scarred, bodies in the snow. "They're gone," Jack says, voice firm. "Won't come back." Luna nods, her eyes soft but fierce. "Because we stood together," she says, her hand resting on his arm. They walk to the corral, sunlight warming their faces, the Rockies watching. Jack pulls her close, their lips meeting in a deep, unbroken kiss, years of loss melting in their embrace. "Stay," he says, forehead against hers, voice steady. "This is our home now." Luna smiles, a rare softness breaking through. "I'm yours," she replies, her voice a vow as strong as his. They turn to the cabin, its scars a badge of their fight, the plateau quiet under the blazing sun. The wind carries away the echoes of battle, leaving only their shared heartbeat. 2 broken souls, once alone, have forged a family in the snow, their love a fire that no storm can extinguish. The cabin stands as theirs, a haven built on trust, ready for whatever the Rockies bring next.